Okay, we are in generalized linear models with examples in R, chapter 3, and we're on question 3.9 here. Okay, so it says in chapter 2, we looked at this data set, lungcap, and analyzed the log of FEV, I think it's forced expiratory volume, as the response variable, with height as one of the explanatory variables. In example 13.3, a model was proposed for analyzing the same outcome, log FEV, but now using log of height rather than height as one of the covariates. Compare these two models using diagnostic analysis and compare, comment. So the first thing I want to do is to get the data up. So I need to install the GLM's data package and load it and get the data. Here I'm just calling it D. And so I have 2.15 and 3.13b. And so let me explain that. So this is the actual model, 2.15. But 13.3b, I think, only has, it doesn't have the whole thing. It just has some of these variables. I can't remember exactly which. But to make them comparable, I've made sure they had all the same explanatory variables with one exception, which is height versus log height. Okay, so we can run those models. And one thing that we can do is just look at some of the diagnostic plots. And so when I look at these diagnostic plots, the one that I find most helpful is the QQ plot. And so I'm just calling up the QQ plot with this which here. Okay, and this is what we get. I guess I'll maybe zoom in a little bit. And these two models look very similar to me. I suspect that the reason that they look so similar, even though we have technically changed one of the variables, predictor variables, is that you look at these two models and most of it is the same except for the height versus log height. Anyway, another way that we can compare this is with AIC, which I'm doing here, and the values are very, very similar, very similar. And so if anything, the one that is doing slightly better here in this particular instance is the one without the log height. Okay, it has a more negative value, which indicates a better fit. So as I was saying, I think that probably the similarity in these outcomes, or in the results of these diagnostic checks here, are because most of the predictor variables are the same with one little itty-bitty exception. And so maybe to try to magnify any difference between them, we'll make new models here where we just are regressing on height or log height. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to look at the QQ plot once again. Okay, and here I think that I can start to see some difference between the two models. Okay, so the right-hand plot here is going to be the log height model. Okay, so this one, and I think that you can start to see some difference here in this tail as well as this tail. Yeah, so just to kind of go back and forth. So this was with all of the explanatory variables, and this is just with height or log height. Just kind of quick comparison to see maybe what's changing when we only are using height here. Once again, we can compare these with AIC to see maybe which one is performing better. And once again, the one not using log height is actually performing better in this particular instance. So anyway, I'm not really sure what else this question wants us to do. So if you perform more elaborate diagnostic tests, please put them in the comments. That would be great. Okay, thanks.